Michelle the Introvert. We drove from Ottawa and just wanted to tell you that we love your videos and we hope you keep making them. You have such a positive and happy energy. Thanks for being you. Wasn't that amazing? Well, good morning, my little rays of sunshine. How are you all doing out there today? I'm Michelle the Introvert, and today I'd like to share with you 9 kitchen projects that I've been working on for the past several days. It's been quite busy. I've been as busy as a bee, doing a lot of food prep for the autumn. So let's get started. The kitchen projects that I've been working on for the past several days revolve around carrots, tomatoes, and crab apples. Now, several days ago I went into one of the stores and discovered that they were selling carrots for a really low price. So of course, whenever we see sales nowadays, you just got to get them when you can. So I picked up 4 bags of carrots, and project number 1 has to do with the carrots. Now, what did I do with some of the carrots? I cooked some up for our supper, and we had some nice sliced cooked carrots with mashed potatoes and some chicken. For project number 2, I found a really nice, inexpensive carrot recipe, and the recipe is called cream of carrot soup. It was the first time I've made that, so I actually made a really large batch of cream of carrot soup. And in it, I cut up some potatoes and carrots. I used the food processor for the carrots. And I had added other ingredients, including some curry powder. And it was a very delicious soup. I'm so glad that I made it. For project number 3, I made frozen tomato sauce. And I used the tomatoes that I grew in my garden. They were a nice red color. So I knew that that was definitely a good way to go to use up those tomatoes. I got them cut up and washed up, and I took the stems off, of course, and I put them in my stock pot. Then I took some onions, celery, and peppers that I had in my freezer, took those out and put them in my stock pot. I was able to use up some more carrots that I had bought on sale, so it was a very practical recipe making this frozen tomato sauce. It required some tomatoes, and of course I had them on hand. And then I thought, well, it wouldn't hurt to add some of the things that I've dehydrated in my dehydrator. So some examples of that are the parsley, carrot greens, basil, and celery leaves. And all those I had dehydrated and ground them up in my little coffee grinder. So I added those items as well to the frozen tomato sauce. And it turned out really good. I tasted it. It was the first time making frozen tomato sauce, and I tasted it and it turned out wonderful. So I put them in containers and they are now in my freezer. While the frozen tomato sauce was cooking, because I let it cook on a low temperature for, well, probably about an hour or so or more. And while that was cooking, I decided to start project number 4. Now, I had some green tomatoes in my garden, quite a few. So I thought, well, I'll be creative and I'll get them washed up and slice them up in my food processor and put those green tomato slices in my dehydrator. And I ground them up as well, and I'm going to use those for soups, and I'm going to use them in casseroles, but just something different. I thought I'd try to dehydrate some green tomatoes, so that's what I did. While the frozen tomato sauce was still cooking, I thought it might be a good idea to use up the rest of the carrots that I had in the bags. I wanted to get them all used up and taken care of. So for project number 5, I washed them and I put them in the food processor, and I shred up the carrots and put them in the freezer. That was project number 5. Once the frozen tomato sauce was all cooked through, I let them cool down a bit, and then I put the tomato sauce in the food processor and blended them up really good. And Then I put them in some freezer containers. So that's where they are. They're in the freezer right now. For project number 6, it was time to work with the crab apples. Now I had a few projects for those crab apples, that's for sure. So the first thing on my list, and this would be project number 6, would be to make some apple butter. I've never made apple butter before, but I have a really good recipe, a very easy recipe, and I cooked it up, the apples slices, I cooked them up in my slow cooker. And I added several other ingredients according to the recipe. And it took a few hours to make the apple butter, but it turned out great. It turned out great. For project number 7 and 8, I put all of the apple peelings, well, I was very selective actually. I put about 90% of all the apple peelings in a big pot because that is what I wanted to make apple jelly with. There were some peelings, there were some cores, there were pieces of apples in there, but I put it all into a big pot because I thought, why waste it? I thought it might be a good idea to make some apple jelly with all those apple peelings and apple cores, all that flavor. And that's what I did. I worked on an apple jelly. And of course I washed everything really well, like the apple peelings were all washed and stuff. But yes, my apple jelly turned out really, really well. And for project number 8, I made some applesauce. And I had 3 small plastic containers that I was able to put the applesauce in, and those are in my freezer, all set and ready to go. After the apple butter was made, and the apple jelly was made, and the applesauce was made, there were still a few apples left. So Joshua had actually requested an apple pie. So with the crab apples that were left, I made a really nice crab apple pie. The crab apple pie was actually my very last project. That was project number 9. And speaking of pies, do you want to see some silly autumn earrings? These say pies before guys. Aren't they silly? I picked these up from Amazon. I have a whole collection of autumn and fall earrings, and these earrings were in the bunch. Pies before guys. I thought it would be fun just to wear them today since I was talking about crab apple pie. Well, my friends, I want to thank you for joining me as I shared with you the 9 very busy kitchen projects that I had with carrots, tomatoes, and crab apples. And it's such a pleasure that you're here. And if you like this vlog, please give me the YouTube thumbs up or press that subscribe button. That would be great. And I have more vlogs coming up, so stay tuned. And I'll talk to you all soon. Talk to you soon, my friends. Bye. Bye.